And we're back, and may the 4th be with you, everyone. It's Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for joining us right here at the Lakers Fast Break. I also host the Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week. I'm gonna get my sister for this. Thank you, JSJ. Twice a week, wherever you get your podcast. Ooh, I'm going to get my sister for this. What's up, Tony? On this week's episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos, I actually got finished with it early. So it's up now if you want to listen to it right now on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or all that good stuff, because it's a great conversation with TJ Johnson. We talk about my review of Thunderbolts. Also, as well, by the way, no spoilers on it. I didn't put any spoilers into it for the Thunderbolts, but you get to hear my thoughts on that. Plus, Sinners. TJ Johnson and I talk at length about the biggest surprise hit of 2025, and a credit to Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan. Sinners is a huge hit, so we talk about that as far as how it became such a hit, why it's such a hit, and where and far and how high it will go as far as Sinners is concerned. Plus, with all the good buzz that Xbox has, what in the heck are they thinking by raising the prices of their accessories and their consoles? And all their software is really knocking it out of the park. We talk about that on the latest Pop Culture Cosmos as well. Still waiting on Joe. And I didn't want to wait more on Joe, so I wanted to make sure I got you guys here. And again, it is Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for joining us. Maybe Sean might stop by, but I know that game is wrapping up right now. The Golden State Warriors legend is a happy man because the Golden State Warriors closed out the game strong, something the Lakers could not do on repeated occasions during the playoffs, and they move on into the second round to face off against the Minnesota Timberwolves. I know he's a happy man, so hopefully I will have him on the show this week. Yeah, Buddy Hield, tough. Moving Buddy Hield into the starting lineup, I think that was the key to this game. Absolutely a shrewd move by Steve Kerr, and it paid off. He had a big game today along with Steph Curry, and solid performances all around. And there you go. Absolutely. Golden State moves on to the second round against the Minnesota Timberwolves. So I think I'll go ahead and make sure Legend stops by with his thoughts on the upcoming series there and how far Golden State can go in the NBA playoffs. But indeed, tough, indeed. But of course, it is Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for joining us. Wanted to hear your thoughts today on this. First off, I know everybody's got their trade scenarios. Hold off on your trade scenarios for today. The next show that I do, I want to do it on all your trade scenarios. We'll break down exactly what works, what doesn't. So save all your trade scenarios for our next show because I really want to hear your thoughts on that. But today I wanted to talk about Rob Pelinka himself. You know that just before the playoffs started, he was blessed with an extension on his existing contract, and he was promoted from vice president to president of basketball operations along with GM. So he unequivocally has all the power in the world as far as the Lakers basketball power. And my question, as Magic Man Sean Grice, my good friend indeed, the madman from Toronto, he did get out of Toronto traffic to stop on by, and I'm greatly thankful for it. It is the Magic Man Sean Grice. The theme for today, and I told our guests, I told our audience, Sean, to hold off on all these trade scenarios and who they want in free agency, all that. I want to wait for that for another day. I want to bundle them all, and then I want to tackle them all at the same time on a show. I want to just dedicate a show to just all that. Today, I want to talk about Rob Pelinka himself. You know, he just before the playoffs, he got the extension. He has now been given carte blanche. He is the president of basketball operations. I don't want to say he's done this all on the back of one trade that was dropped on his lap, but some can say that, and I'm not going to say it's entirely unfair. I know Joe, when he comes on here and has said on here, he is, I think he said something to the fact of paraphrasing among his many rants, but I did say I think he's given or he's going to be giving Rob Pelinka a pass. I am not that way. You know me not by now, Magic Man. I critically see things on each and every time basis. And with Rob, to me, it's been a big hit or a big miss, which we see why the Lakers were so front loaded and don't have much depth because instead of hitting a lot of singles with the other deals, the other draft choices he could have made, he did make, the other short trades that you didn't and didn't make. You see the problem there. I am not sure Rob Pelinka going forward is the guy that's going to be able to successfully go ahead and build a championship around Luka. And I want to hear your guys' thoughts if that's the case, and if that's going to be the case. So, Magic Man, your thoughts on Rob Pelinka? Is he the man that's going to build a championship around Luka Doncic? I can't hear you, Magic. Oh, your mic is and your mic is on. You're not on mute, so while you fix that, my friend, and pop in anytime when you can.
No.
Oh, now, yes, you're good now. Yes, all good. Yes.
So
Go
we're
ahead.
good.
Yes, we're good
We're
now.
good?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, Gerald, I was just going to say, since the beginning of time with the Lakers fast break, you have always had a healthy skepticism about kind of putting all your eggs in one basket, so to speak, which
Yes.
I've respected throughout the years and agree with wholeheartedly. I think the book is still out on Palinka. I'm with you. I'm not as confident as other people are in this fan base who thinks that he can put together the correct personnel around Luca to help win a championship. I hope he does.
I hope
But
I'm
I
wrong on
think,
that. I hope you and I are both wrong on that. Yes.
but I think there is um, a credence to the skepticism about whether or not he can do that. I think that's fair, Gerald. And to be fair, of the panelists of the Lakers fast break, you have been the only consistent. Well, I mean, I think I've been pretty consistent as well, but you've been the only vocal, consistent panelist who's questioned his moves, even through the Luca Golden Goose trade that just happened, like you said, to fall into his lap. Now, I realize that there are other social media blogs out there, other podcasts that want to kiss Rob Palinka's ass and call it ice cream because they think that, if they kiss his ass so much, maybe eventually they'll get enough attention. He'll come on their show and but Gerald, you're not about the fame or the fanfare, so I know you don't give one rat's ass about whether or not you're pledging allegiance to the ring of Rob Pelinka. Yeah. I'm not either. I'm skeptical too. I think number one, he needs to acquire or sign a center that fits the mold that requires what you need out of a big man in a Luka Doncic offense, and that's a lob threat and a consistent one. Two, you need to surround him with a 3 and D player. Now that may take a couple summers to do that. However, those are his two tasks. If he does that and builds around what he has there with Luca, then I would say he would be in putting his coaching staff and the personnel in a fortuitous position to win. But he has to accomplish those two tasks.
Also here today, it's Good Man Indeed. It is, of course, my good friend, as well as Magic Man. It is, of course, the guy behind SimBlades with a Y.com, Corrupt on Steam, and also the Joe Sorrell Experiment, which will be on directly after this show. It is Joe Sorrell. Joe, I've told everybody I want everybody to go ahead and hold off on their trades and their free agent targets and all that, because we'll dedicate a show this week to that specific thing. So I want everybody to think about it hard in the audience out there. Think about your trades, think about your free agents, whatever targets you want, and we'll save a show for that. Today, just today, I want to talk about Rob Pelinka and about him moving forward. I know you said he gets a pass, and I'm not gonna disrespect you at all for your opinion on that. For me, it's been an up and down roller coaster ride as far as his decision making is concerned. For every Luka Doncic, there's a Russell Westbrook. For every trade deadline that magical trade deadline he had, there's a JHS. So with that, my friend, I want to hear your thoughts honestly. Now that you've had some time to disassociate yourself from the season, you and I both wanted to take some time off. I think both of you and I just wanted to clear our heads, just basically just step away a little bit. I know a lot of people are upset. Why aren't you guys doing shows every day? Blah 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 blah. It's like, okay, well, reality is reality. Just wanted to go ahead and take some time away. You wanted to focus on the Dodgers. I respect that. Your thoughts on Rob Pelinka? I know at the time you said, you will not question Rob Pelinka after the trade. Is that still the case, my friend? If it is, I respect it, and I don't blame you a bit.
The Lakers showed at the end of this year that the facade of the LeBron era is exactly that. The fixation on his numbers, the fixation on his career has to stop. If you're a sycophant of LeBron James, I guess that's fine. You can go ahead and do that. However, this is about the Lakers. This is not about LeBron James. LeBron James had 7 seasons to do his work. And the last 3 seasons, there's been terrible endings. And if you think a 41-year-old player who's making max money is going to make a difference next year as a number one, then I think you're misguided in what is important here. The first step that I'm going to be looking at with Rob Pelinka is making sure that he doesn't commit beyond 2026. That's going to be the most important part of this summer, in my view. Getting a center, getting another perimeter player, trading whomever, that's going to be important. But if he goes into next year, having to attach something else beyond 2026, then they're clearly not serious about winning. And that's the truth. It doesn't become serious. This is where the representation for Luka Doncic becomes important. This is where having an agent is important. These scenarios. Because if I'm Luka's agent, I'm sitting with Rob Pelinka and Jeannie and saying, what's your direction here? We clearly got railroaded by Dallas. We're not going to be able to get max money this summer like we were going to be able to. We have to do a 2+1 to qualify for the next big one. So we got to wait a couple of years. And at this point, we've already lost millions of dollars. So that's not going to be the point now. What's going to be the point is, are you going to commit to the Luka era after 2026? We understand that LeBron has a contract that runs through 2026. But what I'm going to be waiting for is, are you going to add another year to that? If you do, in my view, as representation, you're not really serious about winning with the new era. And that right there could be a detriment to progress. It could be a dent in the amazing trade that happened February 1. I think the cynic in me hasn't really shown up yet on this. I don't think the cynic in me is saying, "Oh man, he's going to do whatever LeBron wants. Genie's going to do whatever LeBron wants." I don't. My initial instincts say that that's not going to happen, but I don't know for sure. I just feel like they went through all this to get ahead, to get out of a rut, which would have been a huge rut, guys. If AD was still on this team, every minute that he's still in a Laker uniform would have lowered his value. And then on top of that, you have to manage the ego and the all-encompassing planet consumer in LeBron James. And that really, at the end of the day, is what's most important here to discuss. It's not just it's about, you got to shift. You got to get Joe Montana out of there for Steve Young to flourish. You heard me say that in the previous show. Steve Young took over a very popular player in Joe Montana in the early 90s. But there's no way Steve Young could have met his potential, won a Super Bowl in 94 if Joe Montana was lingering. And you go with the young gun. You gotta make that commitment. You already had a miracle that you worked. Now it's time to support that miracle.
Didn't Green Bay win as many Super Bowls with Aaron Rodgers as they did with one Brett Favre?
I don't. It doesn't. Those are two different scenarios.
Okay.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with it.
Maybe they're two different scenarios, but it's one taking over for the other, like
Right.
Montana Young taking over for Montana. And all I'm trying to equate from that is you got 1-for-1 there. You need to get at least one with Luka. At least one.
I think it would be if you just got one with Luka.
No, I said you need to get at least one.
Well, if you at least one is actually setting the bar low in my view.
But you know, that's all I'm trying to equate that to is the Favre Rodgers thing.
They didn't get rid of Favre because they weren't winning.
I understand. I understand that.
Yeah, it's more about the fact that.
Well, I mean, we were getting the Western Conference Finals.
The issue with LeBron really is he cannot finish games anymore. And even when he was in his prime, it was very touch and go. He's been able to have a successful career because of the immense talent that he has. But there is a tick that is missing when it matters most of the time. And what probably frustrated me more than anything was the fact that you've acquired one of the guys in this league that actually has that tick in a positive way, and you didn't use him. And that in itself should be the blame to J.J. Redick, because if he's tiptoeing around this because he doesn't want to distract the situation with LeBron, that's even more of a reason to get rid of this issue. Getting rid of this issue means you play out your contract. We're going to put your jersey up in the rafters. We'll give you all the flowers, chocolates, and cars and prizes. But 2026, it's time to go win championships, because it's not likely they're going to be able to win one next year unless they have an offseason that we didn't see coming. Something that's just so astronomically amazing, a legitimate third guy through whatever trades or whatever for it to work. But it's just not very realistic to think that way. It's not because LeBron is going to be going into his 23rd season. You can't expect someone in the 23rd season to be the number one. It's just not going to work.
Well, something just happened about a week ago that might have changed things for the summer. So Damian Lillard goes down. Do you think Giannis is just going to wait around for another year, Joe? You think Giannis is just going to sit there in Milwaukee and watch the world turn and he doesn't win another championship? So you want to talk about something astronomical? He's not going to stay in Milwaukee. and watch.
Well, there's going to be two teams, Magic Man, with both Kyrie and also Lillard, both out until early next year.
Right,
at the
Joe.
earliest.
That's right.
So you've got
It's
two teams who
That's
will
right.
be working. Yeah, they're already working with a negative starting the season. So, you can look to those teams, although I don't think Dallas will be dealing with you at any time soon after what happened with Nico the first time around. Couple questions. I want to get to a couple questions here. $10 from No Joker. Comparing a quarterback on a team with only one quarterback is completely different than comparing a team with 5 players who all functionally play similar roles. Your thoughts on that, Magic? And then I've got Parade on Figueroa. I got you next, my friend.
Yeah, it's comparing apples to oranges. It is. I was just in that situation. Joe was conflating Montana to Young and Young being able to evolve. I was just trying to say the same thing about the Packers. That's all. And as far as there is some truth to that. That being said, we all know that. So the quarterback position is the most important position in football. I would say the most important position in basketball is your point guard, and that is Luka. Luka is the point guard in this team, not LeBron anymore. And Luka needs to be the focus, not LeBron anymore. And Gerald, I was very, very sort of perplexed about why Pelinka kept uttering LeBron's name into trying to mold the roster when he should be vocalizing that the roster needs to be built around Luka. I mean, and again, what the hell are you doing bringing Sasha Doncic to the games either, Gerald? Is he just going to sit there, Joe? You think Sasha's just going to sit there and just, listen to what the fans have to say, listen to the crowd, and not give his 2 cents to what he thinks Luka should do in Los Angeles? And the Los Angeles Lakers understanding the value of having his input. I mean, because they didn't just bring him there to watch the games. That's another thing.
Joe?
And it was obvious that's all he was there for the Mavericks after Cuban sold the team. Even if Cuban tried to sell him on the Mavericks are going to keep Luka. I mean, now they have it in the back of their mind. They know they could smell a rat. So it behooves the Lakers to involve him, and it behooves Pelinka to involve him in what moves they make too.
Any thoughts on that, Joe? Because I've got a question for Parade on Figueroa after that, my friend.
Go ahead and ask.
Any thoughts? Okay, well, the Parade on Figueroa says, does today's victory by Golden State make this first round loss sting even more? For me, it doesn't, because again, it hurts. It hurts nonetheless, because I'm only worried about the Lakers advancing. I don't care who advances alongside with them. But you said it does, Joe. I see you.
Yes, because the Lakers would have had by default the home court in the second round. And now they lost that. They lost that opportunity to have an easier path. But what we know, what we've seen now, it's irrelevant. I was thinking more before the Minnesota series. The Lakers are a neutered team in a lot of ways. Austin Reeves apparently had a messed up foot. I don't know if he's taking a page out of the LeBron page with saying, "Oh, I got this," whatever.
After the fact injuries is what.
And all the reasons why it's important to make sure that this entity needs to go. It needs to be retired. It's time to have new energy. It's time to have a new focus. It's just time. It's time. And unfortunately, we couldn't do anything this summer. It would have been nice if they had just let the contract run out last year, but we can't go back and change that. But you can control the Lakers having an opportunity to advance to another personality next year. And they're going to have a draft pick, a first-round pick again, unless they, of course, trade it. I don't know. Can they trade the 2026? I don't think
they can't.
Right?
They can trade one. I think it's the 31 or 32 first-round draft pick, but they have up to 5 swaps.
Good. So next year you go into that year not only being able to free up some money, and I don't know how the salary structure is going to be. The salary cap is going to go up too. I do know that there's going to be an opportunity for the Lakers to make a move, whether it's for a Giannis, whether it's for a Jokic, whether it's for whoever. By the way, I'm not saying those are going to happen. I'm just throwing names out there. The Lakers have a better opportunity to have an open window here in 2026 with the draft pick they're going to have, with the draft picks they're going to have, and then, of course, the summer. And should they not trade anybody this year that are on expiring contracts, those contracts will also expire, although I do think they're going to trade those expiring contracts. Lakers are in a very good position next year, and that's something that I am going to be pressing very, very hard for. And Laker fans who are listening, Sharon especially, if you're listening, I'm going to be coming down really hard on LeBron this summer. It's going to be a LeBron needs to really get an understanding of where he is in his career, because statistics don't mean anything. They mean nothing. They mean nothing to team progress. If you want to be a LeBron fan, be a LeBron fan. But you have absolutely no credibility in explaining anything when it comes to LeBron James and this team in terms of progress and winning championships as it's built now. And there's no way with the current collective bargaining agreement, with the aprons, with all these things, that the Lakers are going to be allowed to do anything unless they clear the pantry a little bit. And you got to get that big box of old oatmeal out.
You know, family-sized cereal you buy? Yeah, you're going to have to...
I always say oatmeal because people usually eat the cereal, but oatmeal is the one that usually sits in there for freaking 3 years.
No, I eat oatmeal regularly, but that's me.
Yeah. It's just...
Claudio, you mean Joe's LeBron take. Remember, we're not all the same person.
Yes, if you want to interpret that I'm a LeBron hater, go ahead. Go ahead. Do it. I got this for a reason, so I cannot have to.
And Claudio, I appreciate you respecting us, and we respect you as well. My Bron take, as far as LeBron is concerned, it doesn't really matter what my LeBron take is, because he's got full control of his future going forward. Whether he wants to stay, whether he wants to go, whether he wants to retire, whether he wants to stay only 1 year, when he wants to stay 2 years, whether he wants to stay for Bryce, or he wants to go to another team.
If you want to come back, if you want to come back with a logical reason on why LeBron staying beyond 2026 makes a difference in terms of title wins, I want you guys to write it. I want you to write it. I want you to explain how that's going to work. This time, I'm coming at you like a professor. I'm not going to just come here belligerent. You're going to need to explain to me why you think that it's a smart deal to do another 1+1 this summer with LeBron. I guarantee you have nothing. There's nothing. There's nothing. Unless you can circumvent the salary cap in the NBA and the Lakers can go get a third star, as it's currently constructed, by the way. I want you guys to explain it to me. And I'm going to be here, and I'm going to listen to you. I'm going to listen to it, and I'm going to read it out loud. So don't give me this bullshit with, hating. I hate fucking losing. I hate losing. I don't care who's on the team.
There's
so bring it
right there. Real Laker 24 got it there for you. Give him credit. He put it out there for you, Joe. So you asked for it, and he put it out there for you. He said LeBron is still playing at an all-NBA team level. He will likely make second team this season. Who else could we get to replace his production?
That's a good question.
That's a good comment. I give him his credit on that.
So
Absolutely.
I wanna know something. What making the second team All NBA mean when you can't close games? Are you there?
That's why
Are you
you're
there
on
to
the
watch?
second.
Are you there to watch a handful of regular season games where you're in awe? LeBron couldn't close a damn door the entire playoffs. Is he going to magically all of a sudden start making those shots, making the right passes out of the inbounds? Whatever your comments are, it's not gonna work, guys. I'm telling you right now.
You could argue the Golden State series was also more of a AD 33%, the others 33, and LeBron 30. Like, you could argue the last series he really took over a fourth quarter was that first round against Memphis.
Absolutely. But let me bring
You
up.
can make an argument.
Yeah, you could.
I feel like you guys are pulling things out of your earwax because there's been 3 different teams the last 3 years on this team. There's only one common denominator. Look at Russell Westbrook just went into the second round, by the way.
And the fourth quarter,
shooting 42% from 3, by the way.
And the fourth quarter for LeBron in the entire series, you guys have to see that as a little bit of a sign.
You got to come with the info, guys. We got facts of games played. You're gonna have to. You're competing with things that have already happened.
And you know, it's been discussed already. He's been a top 5 fourth quarter scorer in the regular season for the past 3 years, and for the past 3 postseasons, he's come up short in the fourth quarter. The longer the Lakers go on in a series,
that's what I have a concern with, guys, in regards to his age. Whatever you want to say, is the fact that when you need him in those clutch moments to finish off the game. And that's one thing the Lakers have not been really good at, Magic Man, is finishing off quarters and finishing off games as a whole. We saw it during the season, and we saw it obviously during the playoffs. Now, I'm not going to tie it. You can't tie this directly to just one individual. You can't just say it's all LeBron's fault, and nor am I going to say it's all LeBron's fault. But the stats are concerning. Could they be tied to age? You're going to have your opinions out there, so I'm not going to go ahead and say one way or the other. But I'm just going to say this. The stats are very concerning, Magic, because if we're not giving it to Luka, or if Luka's not taking command at this point, he's got to start having the responsibility of taking over this team away from LeBron and LeBron's was asking for years for AD to step up to be that one and him be the 1A, and it never happened. It's now time to have a clear number one player in Luka Doncic, but LeBron at 50 some odd million ties up so much of the salary cap. And you're talking about a 40-year-old guy. He's not getting any younger. His production in the fourth quarter is of some concern. It's just a lot of parameters Rob now has to work with and talk about and think about leading into the summer. I'm not saying, again, whether you want LeBron to stay, whether you want LeBron to go, whether you want him to finish off his contract, whatever variable you want, Rob has his work cut out for him, and LeBron has to key in one way or another into a large portion of that, Magic.
Yeah, Gerald, 100%. Also should be noted that, to be fair, going into this offseason, Pelinka has to maneuver around this albatross, and the contract is an albatross, even though he is productive at that age. Regardless, the fact of the matter is that you also acquired a player who, for the past 10 years, since LeBron's second stint with the Cavs, has stated he wants to play off the ball more. Well, the Cleveland Cavaliers acquired Kyrie Irving, and LeBron got to play a little off the ball, Gerald, not a lot, and especially not in the playoffs when he commanded the ball, and Irving became more of an off guard. But you did acquire a player who fits all the specifications that LeBron requested, a player who is worthy enough to play beside him, and he can play off the ball. And you still have a problem now where LeBron is gassed at the end of fourth quarters in the playoffs, even though you managed to get it down to around 33 to 35 minutes per game. That's LeBron's sweet spot now at this age. And even though you were able to acquire Luka Doncic, LeBron still took it upon himself for whatever reason, whether it's stubborn egoness, whether it's game planning, whether it's arrogance. He still decided he was going to be the target in the fourth quarter and facilitate, and it just didn't work. So there's also a factor alongside Rob Pelinka where I think he has to have discussions with Luka about taking more of a commanding presence in the locker room, especially considering the Lakers want him there long term, Gerald, and Luka's going to be there a hell of a lot longer than LeBron. So his voice should carry a little bit more weight at this point in time. Because Gerald, who is left from that championship team on this roster other than LeBron? Who is left?
Maybe some people in PR or somebody in the back office.
There's nobody left from that team that can be in that locker room and hear LeBron or Luka and object to something. Luka's this is Luka's opportunity to seize this franchise, Gerald. And if he thinks he needs to tiptoe around it, okay, but Pelinka needs to be the one to assert himself here and say, you're going to be here a lot longer than he is. So your voice needs to carry.
Pelinka, Genie, and LeBron are left. They're the last one step left standing. Yes. No, you are correct.
Yes. That's it. I think that was what my point was. There is
technically you can say Morris,
but oh my God, he got traded back. Yes,
he left. He got punked by Jokic, and then he came back to the.
Everybody on that team was either traded or left through free agency. They didn't stay, so this is a brand new locker room. Joe, congrats. You wanna chime in here? I think I make it a good point.
Well, I'm going to first off congratulate Xbox. He just announced he got a promotion at his work. So congratulations, Xbox, on your promotion. I'm very happy for you, my friend, out there in Australia. I want to go ahead and talk to you on this, Joe. Again, let's put the Luka thing aside for just a second. I know we can't, but it's going to try to for just a second. You were, in many ways, you and I were aligned as far as Rob Pelinka and his job performance being so up and down over the years and inconsistent. And in many ways, we were wondering at times why he still had his job. Now, flash forward, we bring back Luka. We put him into the scenario mix going forward. Whether you want to say Luka landed in his lap, he still had to get the deal done. He still had to find enough things that Nico Harrison liked that he wanted to go ahead and trade for that got the deal done. So I give him credit for that. But again, for me, it's a long line of inconsistencies in his evaluation of talent and his dealings with talent. So I have concerns about him being the guy that's going to be able to go ahead and build that team, that Magic Man, and I hope he will be doing here in the not too distant future, Joe.
It's irrelevant now. It's irrelevant what happened before. Now it's time to look to the future. The future says you're not going to carry a championship run. I'm not talking about a 1 or 2 year run. I'm talking about a 5 to 10 year run. You're not
Well,
going
let
to
me say this. Let me say this real quick. You don't think his track record before?
I don't give a
is
shit about his
indicator?
track record. I don't give a
No,
fuck.
but I'm not trying
I
to
don't
argue with you,
care.
man.
I
I'm
don't
just trying
care.
to say,
I don't care about
you
the
don't-
past. I don't care. I'm done with the
You-
past.
But
You
his
got
value.
no. It doesn't matter right now. I don't. We have to wait to see to answer that question. We have to wait. We have to wait. The first thing he has to do, the first thing Rob Pelinka has to do, is commit to winning championships. That's the most important thing. And the only thing that will prove that they are about championships is you let LeBron know that 2026 is the last season for now. Should they win a championship next year at the end of the year, then I'd be willing to listen to maybe a renegotiation. But as of right now, I'm going to take what happened February 1 as the number one prize. You got my support, you got my attention. I'm going to let you do your thing now. Now, if he gives LeBron a 1+1 again this summer, now things start to draw back to what you're talking about. But I'm not going to sit here and think about what he did 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago. I'm tired of talking about the past. I'm tired of losing like this. I'm tired of losing like chumps. This is Sacramento Kings and Portland Trailblazer losses in the early 2000s. So that can't. I don't want to have to. I don't want anyone on this team that doesn't want to win. Oh, well, Joe, LeBron wants to win. Does he? Does he really? I'm not going to get into those details. We have a whole summer to talk about that. But I want commitments to winning championships. You're not going to win championships for the next 5 to 10 years assembling things for a guy who's going to be 41 next year and doesn't know how to close games for the third straight season. I've seen enough. I've seen enough of this movie. It's time to flip the script. Luka Doncic just gave you a opening. Make sure you guys take care of that asset and make sure you build around that asset. It has nothing to do with anything else but winning. The Lakers in 2026, should they not do a single trade this summer, have virtually half the roster, more than half the roster on expiring contracts. Next year is going to give the Lakers the opportunity to truly rebuild and put themselves in a position to maybe be a favorite in 2027. You do everything you can this summer, and you do everything you can next summer. And that does not include LeBron James, because LeBron James isn't going to play for the MLE. He's not going to play for the minimum. He's going to want $50 million. That cannot happen. It's time to get the young guns in here. Nice career, LeBron. Thank you for the 2020 title. Time to go. Time to move around. Time to move. That's it. I don't give a shit about second team NBAs and all-time winning fucking scoring records. I don't give a shit about any of that. That means nothing, especially coming from a Laker fan, because the last 3 all-time leading scorers are all Lakers. So who gives a shit? I don't give a shit. And how much, and what is Stockton's records done for him? All-time steals, all-time assists. What did that do in terms of winning at all? Didn't do anything for him. So if you guys want to go sit and listen to stats and how great somebody's stats are, go do that. It's not going to happen here, at least not on my end. I want to win. I want to win championships. And watching Cleveland lose today made it worse for me, because now I'm starting to feel worried. Now I'm really getting worried that those fuckers in Boston are going to probably win another title. And that's going to make things even worse. Yes. That's it. That's where I'm at. And again, you cannot sit there and criticize somebody for 2 years. Then they make something happen that you thought in a billion years couldn't happen, and then not say, all right, let's see what you got, instead of going back and talking about what happened before and jerking off on that. No, I'm not doing that. No, it's over. It's 2025.
I am, because I'm going to tell you this. the team that was built around Luka, or the team that Luka had when he got there, was a poorly constructed team, Magic Man. With, of course, one of the noted reasons why that the Lakers lost the series was a lack of depth, which a lot of those transactions were done by one Rob Pelinka.
How do you judge somebody's transactions on a player that no one in the world thought they could acquire? They weren't building this thing for Luka a year ago or 2 years ago.
Wait a minute.
We were talking about their lack of depth before Luka showed up.
Right.
And a lot of it. Yes.
Right. And all Gerald's saying is that the moves that Pelinka made post the Luka trade are measurable signs that he did not put together a roster that optimizes Luka and LeBron. Correct, Gerald?
How are you going to do that with the restrictions in the CBA?
Let me give you an example. Let me just say, let's say you're a college student and you're struggling. You're C's and D's and getting close to F's, but all of a sudden, out of nowhere, one of your classes you get an A+, and things are looking a little bit better for you. Is that great? Does that mean everything is solved? Your other classes, you're still failing, or your other classes, you're still doing substandard, but you've got that A+. You've got that A+, and everything is going to be okay. Well, and unfortunately, it doesn't work like that, Joe, because there's still 15 players on a roster outside.
What did you want him to assemble before the deadline this year?
I wanted him to assemble before the season started a team that had depth and quality players.
Who has depth in this league now?
Oklahoma City,
okay,
Indiana, Cleveland,
okay,
Boston.
And how are you supposed
Houston,
to have depth when one of your guys is making 50 million?
Minnesota.
How are you supposed to have depth when one guy makes 50 million? This whole point of this discussion is that you need to get that contract off.
Curry makes 50 million. It was just mentioned in our
What the hell do they have? What kind of depth do they have? What? Hield has one game. Hield has one game. He's sucked ass for like the last 2 months. He has one game. Now all of a sudden he's the Messiah.
Couldn't post. Who the fuck couldn't post before the last 8 weeks of the season, Gerald?
Gave them quality minutes. Podziemski.
Yeah. Podziemski.
Instead of drafting JHS, they draft Podziemski. I know there's a comment waiting for me from the other day that Rodell left because he's still bitter because he can't hack the fact that Podziemski is actually a quality player in this league. He just can't fathom it. He's still arguing.
And what would Pods have done on this team should he have been on the team? Would he have really made a difference? Is he going to stop LeBron from turning it over in Chicago? Is he going to stop LeBron from getting 0 points in the fourth quarters? I'm telling you guys right now, you're not focused on the right things. You're focused on bullshit and the past. Fuck the past and fuck the bullshit. You can change it now. Now, this summer, now. Change it now. Forget about what happened 2 months ago. Forget about what happened 2 years ago. Change it now. Commit to the next run. You do that by telling LeBron you are playing your last year here in 2026 unless you win the championship. Then we can renegotiate. That is the first step that this team needs to make, and then build around that. If you can use Rui, you can use Austin, you can use whomever this summer as a way of getting talent back in, whoever they can get, so be it. I'm open to all of it. This team needs its identity. It still doesn't have an identity other than LeBron James can't close a goddamn door when it matters, and this guy's making $50 million a year. It's time. It's time to move on. Move it.
I'm sorry. I'm not going to because the track.
I don't chill. There. I'm on 24/7, even when I'm sleeping. I don't chill. Says, this is who I am.
Thank you again for the super chat. He says Brown from Boston. Jaylen Brown is making 60 mil, and of course they're in the second apron. They're comfortably in the second apron. They're going to stay in the second apron, but as long as they're winning championships, Magic Man, they're going to bite the bullet even with the new ownership. But if they slip a little this playoffs, boy, does that...
Are you talking about the Celtics?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, there's going to be changes regardless if they win or not this year.
Okay.
Get ready. Yeah.
When Joe was going on that little rant, this is floating through my skull.
Great line. Great line. Absolutely. From the great one.
You know what's
all,
funny,
all that,
Sean?
all
You know
that
what's
was
funny?
missing was because I just
You know
wanted
what's-
Joe to.
It's funny. I got called a bully by some of my fraternity brothers this morning. One of them, and he started turning into Joyce Brothers on me. And by the way, this isn't the first time. This is not the first time. It's not the second time. It's amazing. This motherfucker has not seen me in 30 years. All of a sudden, he's trying to tell me who I am. I'm like, bitch, don't you know who I am? You know who I am. How many times have I made you very clear who I am? All of a sudden, now I'm this depressed guy, and I don't know myself, and I'm the bully. I mean, the amount of stupid things people say when they don't know shit about anything is comical, and it's been an issue a few times here on the show when you have people sitting there who chime in, not the regulars. The regulars have their place here, obviously, even if they're wrong. But people who come in here and just first hit with something, you suck. LeBron's great. This person. What about Luka's defense? Like as if we don't know what Luka's defense is. How come where was Luka's defense when he was hitting shots left and right to win games last year and the year before then? He was non-existent in end of games the entire time this year. Why? Why don't you use him? That's where JJ really fucked up, by the way. He couldn't devise a single freaking play for Luka to win at the end of the games. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that maybe he was worried about LeBron being Scottie Pippen. I don't know. I'm just taking a guess because it doesn't make any sense to me. You have one guy on that team that's really clutch, and you don't set up any plays for him? Doesn't make sense to me.
I'll just say this again, Magic. Great to have you back. And as always, it is, of course, Joe Soro and me, Joe.
Where did Sean leave? Where did Sean go? What do you mean you're happy to be?
It is a snack pack. Well, he was thinking about leaving, I'm sure, when you said that rant. Doobie says, you just said that the past don't matter to G, but you can do it. Doobie says you were reflecting on the past, but you said it doesn't matter.
Wait, what?
Doobie says you just said that the past don't matter to G, to me. But he said then you reflected and did just what you said not to do.
Do what? What do you, in terms of what? Which part? I mean, are we talking? I mean, technically, 5 minutes ago was the past. What are you really talking about in terms of the past?
And Doomer, whether you want to say that Magic made the trade or Rob was in the room when that trade happened, could have easily said, you know what, Mike Muscala for Zubac wasn't the greatest thing you should have done, but it is what it is. But you got Caruso, you got many players that.
What did Zubac do for the Clippers in the first round? By the way, since you guys keep talking about this goddamn trade.
He defended Jokic probably better than anyone has.
And what was the result? Where was he in Game 7? That's the past. Right. That is the past I'm talking about. Not about 3 minutes ago.
Okay. Well, with that, Magic Man, 3 minutes ago, I still have Vando on a extended contract. 3 minutes ago, I still have.
First, hold on. I got to finish this. I'm sorry. Nick, I'm using context in terms of Luka being a known clutch player. That's not talking about the past. That's still present. He still has that skill. I mean, do we need to teach English comprehension here? Seriously. What the fuck? What the fuck is going on here tonight? You guys are worse than normal. Go ahead.
So Magic, I'll just bring it back to you, my friend. I want to ask you this. With Luka, you're trying to build a championship roster, whether you're going to be able to do it this summer, this fall, this next trade deadline, or in the summer of 2026. There's still question marks. Again, for me, this roster has a lot of question marks. I mean, you committed to Vando, who, despite certain misgivings that both Empire Jeff and Jamie, he has the supporters. Let's just say he has the supporters. I don't think it was the wisest thing to go ahead and give him a extended contract that you did, but you got him for another 3 years. What we talk about as far as Gabe Vincent, was Gabe Vincent able to step up for us when we needed to most coming off the bench? The fact that DFS trade, which a lot of people liked and still might like, you only got a 10-point game player. When it comes right down to it, you guys only got a 10-point game player who plays adequate defense to good defense. Doesn't really move the needle for you enough on that respect, especially someone who's going to be approaching the age of 32 this summer, as he can decline his option and become a free agent. So with all those parameters, plus you have the fact that Austin Reeves, he is extension eligible. The Lakers are going to offer him one. They can't offer him too big because what is it? I know Bobby Marks had it. If you saw that off-season video for ESPN, thinking they can offer him now or just before he becomes a free agent is 140% above whatever he's making. I know Joe said he's not worth $30 million. I think he's going to try and get and possibly could get $30 million from a team out there when if he were to leave in the summer of 2026. So again, these are things that you need to go ahead and concern yourself with because of all the issues you still need to go ahead and fix on this roster going forward if you're Rob Pelinka, Magic Man.
100%, Gerald. Absolutely. And let's look at the pros and cons of what he's working with, because we've gone over the cons, but let's look at the pros. You have flexibility for trading first-round picks at this point. You have second-round picks in perpetuity to trade. You have Rui Hashimura, you have Maxi Kleba, you have Gabe Vincent, you have Shake Milton, who all accumulate around just a little under $43 million in expiring contracts. You are not, plus you also have Dalton Connect, Gerald, who is still a very intriguing prospect around the league, even though we have raised legitimate concerns about whether or not there is a sustainable role player there if he cannot play a certain amount of poised defense. Show that being said,
you have to build a system around him that takes care of.
He's still a project defensively, yes. So, but you also have a prospect in Connect. Nobody's going to be able to tell me that Pelinka can't gain, something out of that. You telling me you can't get a quality center and perhaps a Herb Jones or a Trey Murphy III or somebody else out there of that ilk to be a 3D guy beside Luka? I think it's very well within his capabilities of doing that. Will he be able to do it?
Good, will he? That's a good question. Will he be able to do it?
Because as Joe said, Gerald, this starts at the top. It starts at the top with Jeannie Buss. Jeannie is the one who controls the purse strings, both literally and figuratively. And if you want to be a championship team, you got to spend money to make money, baby.
That you do, my friend. And Joe, I'll bring it back to you. So and I'm not going to say I disagree with you. Fixing all the Lakers' issues or many of the Lakers' issues are going to be hard to do in this summer because of what the Lakers still have to pay out. That offseason video by Bobby Marks, if you get a chance to watch it on ESPN, I'll see if I can find the link for you guys and show it to you. It really gives you a breakdown of what the financial concerns and restrictions are going forward, because if the Lakers make essentially any move, they could be hard capped just by making any move this offseason. So, Joe, we're now going to see a test. We're now going to get a true test of what Rob Pelinka's capabilities are as a GM, as a president of basketball operations really is. So I'm open to giving him a chance, and I know you are as well.
Well, there's no choice. Giving him a chance isn't necessarily how I would phrase it. I'm just more, okay, you made an amazing transaction, probably one of the best I've ever seen. Now it's time to make the common sense transactions first. The ones that you can control. Remember we talked about this last year? The things that you can control. Take advantage of it because of the fact that you're in this rut with the salary cap. Why did we say draft the best player possible, no matter who it is, because you have control over that? They drafted Connect, and then obviously you saw what happened in the second round. Point is, try to get the stuff that you can control 100% done right, and then everything else, try to follow that kind of philosophy. There's a pretty clear sign. There's a pretty clear sign on what needs to be done with a Luka Doncic run team. Try to make that work. If something big happens in between there, okay. There's never going to be an issue if a superstar somehow manages to be that player that you end up bringing in, a Giannis or whoever, right? But you got to go into this thinking we are going to build around Luka Doncic. We're going to try to go get the second, the third player that will work with him. If it's maybe one extra main player, so be it. Whatever. I don't know how this is going to play out because it's just difficult. It's difficult in today's NBA and its current collective bargaining agreement to really be able to stretch things out because there is the second apron is essentially a hard cap, and Jeannie is not a billionaire, at least not liquid or diverse. She only has the Lakers, and those play a factor in all these decisions too, and that's something that everybody needs to understand. It's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of detail, even stuff that I can't even sit down and really comprehend because I don't have time. I can't. No matter how much I've been wanting to read the collective bargaining agreement, I don't know how many thousands of pages that thing is. I just can't. And usually, when you read something once, you got to read it 2 or 3 times to really understand everything and catch everything. I don't know. I'm rolling with the basics here. So we're gonna have to wait. I'm waiting. And I'm gonna wait for the first one. The first one I think is going to be the most important one, and that is what team is this going to have in terms of its philosophy? If it's LeBron beyond 2026, yeah, then the philosophy stays the way it is, where we're going to continue to see games where things are tight, and you're going to see a lot of mental errors because the main guy on the team is leading it that way.
I was mentioning it earlier, Magic Man, during the Cleveland game, and we were talking about possible free agents. And this year, like it was said in the chat, Brooklyn's the only one with real cap space, so a lot of trades have to be made. The free agent market in 26 right now looks like a level above than what 2025, because when we were talking about Ty Jerome and Sam Merrill being two of the best or better options in free agency, that tells you, even though those guys have played really well, that's probably the free agent market's not going to be all that great. So again, the focus will have to be on trades and acquisitions. And I'm not sure, with all these teams wanting to trade, trying to stay out of the second tax apron in some cases. Phoenix has a brand new GM as they kicked James Jones. Okay, they didn't kick him off the team per se. He's still an advisor, but
we're going to move him to an advisory role. Yeah, yeah.
That's like getting moved. Not trying to do anything. Well, okay, this is going to sound political.
You can work from home, James. He can work from home.
It's like getting moved to ambassador to the UN from a high level position. So, and I'll just leave it at that. But you're my friend. I want to ask you this: when it comes right down to it, Rob, I think at what point does Rob, or should Rob, start feeling any pressure in regards to it? Because Joe is right. This is about a team that has to win and has to be able to be put in a level to be a championship team each and every season, because we have fallen behind Boston, and there's a possibility we could fall behind even more. So at what point would you, or should we go back to where it was before, which, Joe doesn't want to do that, where we were really putting pressure on Rob Pelinka? When does that point happen for you?
If he doesn't resign, if he loses Luka to free agency,
Okay.
that would be devastating for him.
Not any time before then.
No, I think he's safe until then.
Okay. Do you agree with that, Joe? Or do you say he should get a little pressure before then? Because obviously, if that's the case, the Lakers would not have a level of success, most likely, beforehand. Because Luka, if they were winning championships or really at a high level, Luka would probably not want to leave Los Angeles.
There's a better chance of Sean Grice moving to Afghanistan than them screwing up the Luka Doncic relationship.
Okay.
There's no doubt. And as far as pressure on Pelinka, he just got an extension. What pressure?
Okay.
The pressure is being a Laker executive
Pressure?
in general.
What do you know about pressure?
Laces out.
So before we head on out,
What a sports nut, huh?
Joe, what you working on for the experiment here?
I'm looking for May Finkel and a new pair of shorts.
God, don't get them started, guys. They'll quote you movie lines all day long.
The experiment tonight, which will air at 10 o'clock, will be about discussing the Dodgers' trip to Atlanta and talking a little bit of Lakers, talking a little bit about lifestyle stuff. Should it come up end of the week, maybe type stuff, but mainly Dodgers and Lakers. Football's still fresh right now. I don't think I'm going to be there yet until maybe mini camp starts or training camp in general. But the experiment is going to be more of the moniker than the Joe Soro experiment, because I just like the experiment. Yeah, that's true, Jeff. He's never really felt pressure because Jeannie's there. Now, what he does do is he hides like a he hides like a
He
hides
like
when
he
things are bad.
belongs on a milk carton.
He hides
Milk
when
carton
things are
Rob.
bad,
That's what I call him.
which is something
and
you
he
should-
can't help
Rob.
showing his face when times are good.
which is something to praise Nico Harrison with. No matter what was going on, he stuck his face out there, right? Didn't matter if it was in LA, didn't matter if it was in Dallas. Rob Pelinka turns into a dormant lily when things aren't going well, and all of a sudden he starts showing up when things are okay. First sign of some things, but I don't think it's. We need to delve into that a little bit at this moment. The pressure of winning in LA is, in my view, no different than winning in New York as a Yankee organization. It's the number one team on the planet, still is, in terms of its popularity. I don't think there's ever been a more popular basketball team ever. I think Jordan and the Bulls had a little bit of a run there in the 90s, but overall, since 1947, I'd say the Lakers have been number one throughout the entire history of the NBA. And
It's inarguable.
yeah, it's just there's too many great players.
And it's inarguable based on the fact that the commissioner who saved the NBA was asked what would be your dream NBA finals, and what was his response, Joe?
Lakers versus Lakers.
Not the Celtics, not the Bulls.
Which was odd considering almost every stoppage, every rule change, every veto was against the Lakers. We talk about the history of certain players' careers. There's been David Stern, in my view, was best between 1984 when he came on and 1998. I think he would have been better off probably retiring after 1998, even though that wasn't realistic. After 1998, 99 until his end as commissioner, I thought it was not a good run. I think he did a lot more 2 steps up, 3 steps back type work during that era for whatever reason. But that tends to happen. Not everybody has a perfect career, but when you have Magic and Bird to start your career, then you have Jordan that takes over halfway through. I think you know I'm not trying to call him a front runner. I think he was an integral part of the advancement of the NBA, but I felt that he held back the Lakers a lot, taking mainly the number one, taking Shaq's prime out a couple years earlier by implementing the zone. I'm pretty confident that if the zone had not been implemented in 2003, I feel very confident that the Lakers would have four-peated.
I think we would have won at least one more. Maybe two.
Yeah, four-peating is a different beast. I know that the Islanders don't get a lot of pub for four-peating in hockey. So, but the Lakers would have. That would have been unprecedented in modern sports. And it sucks because that puts the careers of Shaq and Kobe in a completely different area, and the Lakers organization in a completely different area. And that's the part. Those are the things I think about when there's anger tied to it. It's this team is winning. This team is doing what it's doing. They're working hard too. They're going through 4 series to win a championship. They did it 12 series in a row. Yet here, oh, by the way, we need to even things out because somebody over there in San Antonio or someone in Cleveland or some dickface in Dallas decides that, oh, well, this isn't fair. I'm not a big fan of whiners when you're not winning. If you're not winning, then get better. If you can't win, then go find something else to do. And it's kind of a microcosm of society. As soon as you start winning too much, all of a sudden you're doing something wrong. And that's not how it should be. It should be you need to take care of this. You need to beat it. So as of right now, I already struggle with just the inability to be. I'm not expecting people to think and act like Jordan or Kobe. I think those days are gone. But I'm struggling in that if you do have somebody out there that is on your team that's great, that has a little bit of it, please can you harness that better and make sure that that's something that's supported, especially when that guy's 26 years old. And no one gives a shit that no one cares about the personal lives of these guys. And uprooting your entire family. I know they're millionaires, guys, but they still have to, sell homes and deal with escrow and deal with mortgage brokers and real estate people and contractors. Just because they're rich doesn't mean that the attention is to other things. They have wives, they have children. Children don't give two shits about their parents usually if they're rich. They got to deal with that stuff. If you don't believe me, look at Michael Jordan, look at Scottie Pippen, look at the stuff that they deal with. And these guys are supposed to be the kings, right? They have skank ex-wives and they have kids that are smoking coke on boats and doing shit like that. You think in a billion years, I'm snorting coke. Yeah,
but Gerald, you can't smoke it. Joe is correct there.
I know you can smoke it. Yeah, I know.
The point of the matter is there are sometimes elements that factor into this, and you have to be a little bit realistic about it.
But we'll go have to see what happens. Again, Magic. I'll just leave it at this. I know that depth. I go back to it, and there were several. All the teams that are moving on to the second round were deeper in the Lakers. About how deep do you think this team really goes? I'd say 4.5, 5. If you think DFS is a full blown player, if he counts as that, 4.5, 5 players deep. After that, it's as we saw, the worst performing bench in the playoffs this year. Magic Man.
Absolutely, Gerald. And unfortunately, you're going to have to find a way to construct a better cushion. So, like the fit, They each individual had good skills off the bench, Joe. That just didn't. There wasn't a meshing point. Like it was usually one or two guys at the most who would get going. It didn't. It never felt like at any point in time they were cohesive. So I think the first and foremost you have to improve the depth one way or the other. Now, when the Lakers acquired Kareem, they finished 40-42. They lost a lot of depth. They acquired him in the summer and free agency and the draft were, don't need to get into it, but they're on a different time schedule. Anyway, frankly, it took Pete Newell a few years, at least 3, to develop a championship level team for the Lakers. We don't have that kind of timeline with Luka, Gerald. With Jerry West and Shaq and Kobe, he had to do it on the fly as well. Now, it took Jerry about 2 years, but eventually he did it. With LeBron, Gerald, again, Magic and Rob had to pull that off, and it took them a solid 3 years. They won in the second one, but they got lucky. You need to be able to pull something off this summer. You have to get that center. You have to get that 3-and-D player. That's what Pelinka needs to do. He needs to focus on that and that alone, first and foremost.
So do you think, Joe, that this team will be able to increase its depth over the course of the summer? Because, again, I see this team as only being 5 deep, depending on what you think of DFS. Hayes, you said, is a nice backup center. He was so nice as a backup center, we decided not to play him any minutes at all in the Minnesota series, and nothing. He was a DNP in the final game. So I don't know how good that backup center is for you. And during the course of the season, that's great. But I'm talking about playoffs. How many players, do we really or can we really count on right now? And do you think that will change come the course of this offseason?
I believe that the Lakers have some really, really nice flexibility this summer in terms of being able to trade for a possible star.
A lot of contract in the teens.
Correct. And some of them are on their last years. Dorian Finney-Smith has a player option that I believe he will pick up, and I'd prefer to have him back. I think he's good with depth. He can start. He can guard from 1 to 5 on. And I thought he played a great fifth game. It's just couldn't close it. So I would like to see DFS come back for one more year. Maxi Kleber is on an expiring contract. I think you can leverage him. You can leverage Gabe, who has an expiring contract as well. Rui has an expiring contract. I think between Kleber and
Kleber,
and Vincent,
Austin,
both make 11
Rui,
mil,
Vincent,
and then Rui makes just a little over 18 mil. So you essentially have.
Plus, you could throw in Shake Milton's non guaranteed.
Just in those 3 players. Just forget about everybody else. Just those 3 players.
$40 million.
$40 million of expiring contracts. The Lakers have an opportunity. It's just going to be a matter, and they also, and this is something that I'll reiterate, the Mark Williams trade being rescinded. Yes, he probably would have helped us a little bit in the series, but I don't believe it would have been enough to win the title, especially based off what we've seen at the end of games, right? By not getting rid of that first-round pick and maybe the potential of Connect, because I'd like to keep Connect. I think Connect has potential to being a very, very Kyle Korver type player. That's the guy you want with a Luka run team. I want to keep him at least for another year, unless obviously he's got to be put into a trade where it makes sense. But man, they've got a shooter here, guys. Don't let that guy go. And then you got a first-round pick, $40 million just on 3 guys that you can use to trade. That right there is enough. Whether it's 2 extra guys, whether it's 1 guy, I don't believe that the Lakers are going to be able to get a Giannis this summer I just don't see enough talent that they can send back or enough draft picks unless it's a 3 or 4 team deal and some.
You'd have to give up all your swaps, the 5 swaps.
I'd have to sit and look at that. I don't know how that would all work. But hell, if it happens, okay, cool. You go in the next year, your depth might not be as good still because you'd be allocating a lot of that money to one player now, right? But you go in the next year with LeBron still there and having to be there. Then when he's done in 2026, then you can go ahead and add more depth, and you have that extra guy with Luka. I think they have a very good chance at putting something good together this summer, at least to start. And then next summer is going to be, I think, the big summer, the really, really big summer, the one that I believe will be the off season where they get the players they need and they go into the 27th season as some of the favorites to win the title.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. It is a snack pack. I love how Nick T is just speaking for the entire audiences. We want Kelly Olynyk and Herb Jones.
I'll take Herb Jones. You can keep Kelly Olynyk.
Yeah, exactly. Keep Kelly Olynyk far away from the Lakers, unless as a backup, get earning on a minimum contract.
So Gerald, I know we'll get into it later in the week, but I'll just say this as a teaser. The 2 best defensive players on bad teams right now in the NBA are Nick Claxton and Herb Jones. If you could get one of those two, it helps your defense, Gerald.
Herb Jones, yes. I can't. Claxton, no, he can't. Claxton can't play for you in the clutch. He already is the owner of a playoff record that you don't want, Magic Man, being 0 for 10 in a playoff game.
Well, he might be 0 for 10, but Desmond Bain was minus 51.
Yeah, but that's I don't know. Is that worse?
That's worse. That's worse, Gerald.
Oh, then 0 for 10, 0 for 10 for the free throw line?
Yeah.
Because was that 0 for 10 in the free throw line? Was that in the Kevin Durant game? I don't remember.
Oh, that's a great question. I'm gonna look that up. That's a great question, Gerald.
I don't think it was, but if it was, Magic Man, maybe that's not.
Okay, I'll take it back if it was.
Yeah, I'm not a Claxton fan. Claxton, plus he's just not strong enough. Jokic would eat him up for lunch, and no one's going to tell me otherwise on that. I mean, we saw Zubats, just however much we praised him for being different.
I know
Joe ultimately was much better.
Unless it's something out of left field, Joe, we're going to have to deal with getting back a quality center. Maybe not everybody's cup of tea, but that has some flaws. But one that obviously fits a lot of the needs that Luka requires offensively.
Kessler is a right better direction.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. It's just what do you get? What do you got to give up to acquire him?
Yes,
because
that's true. Xbox, I do. You're spending $20 million on a center who can't hit free throws for you.
No, Gerald, it was okay. So
Joe would get so upset about that every time.
Pretty not bad, Gerald. It was the following year. It was 2022. He went 0 for 10 against Boston. Yeah,
it's
Boston.
Just off the top of my head. Okay, so but he was 0 for 10. That's not a good thing to have in a playoff game in the clutch.
Gerald, who held the record? Who held the playoff record before Claxton?
That I don't know. Was it Shaq or was it Shaq? Was it Shaq?
It was Shaq, Gerald.
Oh, no.
Yeah. 0 for 8. 0 for 8.
Shaq.
But if I'm not mistaken, I believe that was for Orlando, not for the Lakers.
Somebody actually in the chat put re-sign Alex Len, and that's scary. That's just scary.
I hope Alex Len enjoys Olympiacos or Maccabi Tel Aviv next year.
Real Madrid.
Because he's not long for the NBA. For God's sakes, I thought Juan Hernan Gomez deserved a better shot in the NBA than freaking Alex Len, and he went back to Europe.
Well, I'll tell you guys again, please hold on to your thoughts on acquisitions and trades and free agents. We're going to have this conversation this week. We'll dedicate an entire show to it. But Joe, Sean, great to have you here. Before I hit it over to Joe, Sean, any last thoughts, my friend, before we head on out?
Yes, Gerald. Rob, as Gerald eloquently stated, the goose that laid the golden egg plopped that right in Pelinka's lap in February of 2025. He did a very poor job, in my estimation, and Gerald agrees. And I'm sure a lot of other Laker fans as well, of putting together a roster to maximize the potential that this group had. He's got, to me, 2 summers to actually pull it off. It starts this summer, and I'll start off ending with what I began with, and that's, he's got 2 tasks this summer. Either one, you acquire a quality center that has a lot of the attributes that you require in a center to play beside Luka Doncic, both offensively and defensively. And 2, you need to acquire a perimeter defender that gives your defense an uptick while not being a sum-zero effect on the offense. Jared Vanderbilt. And 3, please get rid of Jared Vanderbilt. I will gladly fly out to Los Angeles, pack up Jared Vanderbilt's bags, Gerald. He won't need to hire a moving company. I will gladly take everything down and drive him to the airport, make sure he gets on the plane. He has his ticket. He has his passport, potentially, if he's going to the Toronto Raptors. And I will make sure he's on the flight to the city where he's playing for next.
Well said. It is the Magic Man, Sean Grice, a great part of what we do here on this channel, and also playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break as well. Joe, who will be on at 10 with the experiment. Any last thoughts, my friend, on Rob Pelinka before we head on out?
If Rob somehow finds a taker for Vanderbilt, it'd be a win already for the summer.
Yeah, I would go back to. I would lean more towards your side if you can find a sucker for Vando. Yeah,
it's going to be an interesting one. I think in the end it'll be good as long as they make it very clear. And we're going to need Luka's representation to make sure this works, because they're at the mercy of Luka right now more than anything else. If Luka decides I'm peacing out, yeah, the Lakers will do what they need to do to keep him.
Well, there you go, indeed. But once again, it is Joe Soro. Please check out his channel in about 30 minutes. The Experiment channel. I will stop by as well. I'm going to go ahead and just take care of a couple things. But yes, I will be jumping on as soon as we'll start off with his usual Joe stuff right there, talking about the Dodgers. Lost today, but I think they're still at the top of the National League. Is that not correct?
Yeah, they're still up a half a game, and I'll go into details on where I am with the Dodgers. I'm pretty happy with what's been going on, and go into more detail on why.
Magic Man, I know you've been higher on my Golden Knights than I have been, but Winnipeg, I thought Winnipeg going in would dominate the entire playoffs, and they got lucky. They major choked, probably one of the biggest choke jobs I've seen in playoff history. Just happened NHL playoff history, although that seems to happen a little bit more often in the NHL than any other sport. But your thoughts on Winnipeg? Have they been given a new lease on life because of it?
I think they got about another week, because Dallas is waiting for you, and Mikko Rantanen is going to run all over you. I think this is the height of their season, Gerald, so I'm glad they enjoyed it. But yeah, that was a big choke job by St. Louis, up 3-1 with 2 minutes left, and you allow 2 goals. It's just like going into overtime at a game 7, you've given up 2 goals. That's rough. That's like the worst. You feel like the sky is falling. And after that first OT was over, Gerald, I'm sure all those guys were just wondering when it's going to be over. Like, honestly, because if I was in that locker room, you can hear a pin drop. I think Winnipeg got lucky, Gerald. I mean, good for them. But yeah, they clutched victory out of the jaws of defeat. But each round gets tougher, and they're going up against the Dallas Stars, and Dallas is a better team. I think Dallas is going to roll over the Winnipeg Jets and await who the Oilers and Knights.
Yep, absolutely. Eric, again, I was a big fan of the Kings, but they won their 2 titles. Then Golden Knights came here, and
The Kings
jumped on
blew
that
it too.
bandwagon.
They were up 3-1. They were up 3-1 in Game
They
4
choked.
against the Oilers, and they gave up 3 goals in the third period, and you just allowed Edmonton to just beat you 4 straight.
And the smart money right now is on Edmonton. I'm here in
Vegas favors Vegas right now, Joe. Just barely,
but
just a smidge.
just barely. But the smart money, I've already talked to a couple people. Yeah, they're liking Edmonton this series. I can't say I blame them.
Vegas in 7.
If you're up 3-1 with just a couple of minutes left, put an extra defenseman out there.
Yes,
it's not that hard. I am a casual fan at best at the NHL, and even I know this. Do not just keep out your forwards. What are you trying to prove? Put out your top defenseman and bring out another defenseman, and there you go. That's all you needed. But again,
that's smart strategy, Gerald.
As simple as that. Not that hard. When you're down 3-1, you bring an extra forward out there. When you're up 3-1, you bring out another defenseman. It's just that simple. But it's just like this tradition stuff that they do in the sports with they have to play it a certain way. It just makes zero sense sometimes, but it is what it is. Johnny says Joe Sorrell wants to heat. Huh? Why
moist.
Do you want to heat?
The comment's moist.
I like the heat.
Yeah, but he says you want to heat. You want to heat. Joe Sorrell wants to heat.
He says I want the
heat. Okay.
What's the heat?
He wants the heat. Okay.
Unless they're talking about the actual heat. Why the hell would I want the heat then?
Come over to Joe Sorrow's channel. Joe Sorrow. It's right there. It's not that hard. Come over there at 10 o'clock. He'll be there, and he'll be providing some of that heat for you.
Oh, Joe Sorrow wants Luka to heat.
No, I don't want Luka to go to the Miami Heat. I don't know where that came from. Probably Doomer's dumbass.
No, somebody in the chat mentioned that he likes Florida, so they could envision him walking and going to the Miami Heat or the Orlando Magic because of it.
There's no way he would leave the Los Angeles Lakers for the Orlando Magic. There's less than a 0 chance of that happening in this universe. I'm in the right reality, right? I'm pitching Joe.
Yes, you are.
I'm pitching myself just to make sure. Orlando?
No.
Orlando, Florida? No.
No. Wasn't Orlando the murder capital of the country for a while there?
It was?
Yeah. It's pretty bad. All the Disneyland in the world couldn't keep it. But then I always hear stupid things like that all the time.
I don't know. I've been to Orlando twice. It seems like a great place for me.
I think those statistics are
3 times. Sorry.
They say Memphis is a really bad place too. Like Memphis.
Stone's still alive.
Country music. Why would anybody want to kill a bunch of country music people? Doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. We are going to come back later this week with another show. Again, have all your trade scenarios and free agent scenarios and Magic. Joe and I will break it down for you and share our thoughts on that. And we'll evaluate that to see if it's something that's feasible and we can get this worked out. So we'll do that indeed. I think that'll be a fun show. And go ahead and either praise or rip on these prospective GMs we'll have in the chat.
You know what, Lakers Doomer? Where do you come up with these comments? oh, well, Luka has a good relationship with Jamal Mosley, and we know the Miami Heat, and Luka loves Florida. LeBron loves chocolate chip cookies. Does that mean he's going to move to the Chips Ahoy factory?
Actually, that's why he left, apparently, Miami, because he couldn't bring his chocolate chip cookies on the plane.
Yeah, whatever.
Which, by the way, as much as I love Pat Riley, come on, dude. Really?
That's a little petty.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
But it would be petty to bring that up, though. Maybe that was Pat's.
There becomes the grown men acting like children is more of a norm than you think, especially when they're titled athletes.
Well, you know what Lakers doomer? David McMenamin also posted that LeBron James had a grade 2 MCL strain and he'd be out about a month. Like, he's not a doctor. He's not a physician either. What, is he supposed to be a fucking travel agent for you too? Why don't you ask him dating advice?
It's called a mouthpiece. I'm gonna get a mouthpiece on the next show, and I'll wear it whenever this gets brought up. I'm gonna just put it on, so you know what it is.
Yeah, all right. On that note, so Joe can have 20 minutes to set
everything. And I bet you,
as
soon as LeBron gets asked the question, "What do you think about Dave McMenamin?" He'd be like, "I don't know who the hell that is." These guys all make money off a guy that doesn't even give a shit about him. Yeah, that's funny.
Yep. No way Orlando has more murders than LA, New York City, or Chicago.
Well, LA doesn't have as many murders from what I remember because people are too busy dying of drugs and shitting in the streets. But I digress. I know Jeff is going to get mad if I said that.
It wouldn't be the first time you pissed him off.
I don't know if I've really pissed off Jeff.
Well, I mean, with all the Canadian wildfires, there were
talk bad about Vando for a little bit. That'll piss him off. Go ahead.
Yeah, there were a few days where Canada had a worse smog alert than Los Angeles. We had worse air quality than LA.
Good point. But again, please go ahead.
But yeah, Vando sucks. Empire Jeff.
Yes, I agree. Just and you committed years onto it while he was still hurt. He did come back, but yeah, was he a big factor in the series? No, and I know that Jamie is still upset about that, but and Empire Jeff, I'm sure, but again,
no, Doomer, your mother is my favorite girlfriend.
On that note, more of this.
You're opening up the Pandora's box now.
Yeah, please don't do that. You don't want to do that, Doomer. You've already charted on one of our most popular shorts because you are the subject of it, Doomer. You don't want to do that.
Feel fortunate.
I'll just leave it at that. So, yes, 1,000 people have already seen you being humiliated by Joe. So you really want to keep that going. If you do, then head on over to the Joe Soro experiment here in about 18 minutes. So for Joe Soro, Magic Man Sean Grice, it's me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for listening. We'll be back later this week. For all your trade scenarios, all your free agent scenarios, we will go ahead and gather them all up and rate them all. Go ahead and make sure you think about what you're going to do if you are the Lakers, because we will go ahead and rate it this week right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.